This program is rated SPG. It contains scenes with themes, language, violence, sex, horror, or drugs, which may not be suitable for children. Strong parental guidance is advised.
We, in the case of the people of the Philippines versus Celestino Bunoan, E. Cruz, find the defendant guilty in the crime of murder.
The court is adjourned.
Early on December 12, 1934, the defendant Celestino Bunoan met the now deceased Carlos Gison on Avenida Rizal.
Hoy! Yung utang mo sa akin ano na? Tangina mo, papatayin kita!
Babayaran naman kita.
Papatayin kita! Huwag kang gigilos na masama! Bitawan mo ang armas mo! Naares na kita!
On January 16, 1935, the case was called for the arraignment of the accused. Defense counsel objected on the ground that the defendant was mentally deranged. He was at the time confined in the Psychiatric hospital. The court thereupon issued an order requiring the director of the hospital to render a report on his mental condition.
Based on the general behavior of the patient is unpredictable. Sometimes the patient is only laying on his bed, motionless with eyes closed. Other times, on very rare occasion, he wakes up and walks around with ritualistic movements. On several occasions, the patient refuses to take baths and shave facial hairs, which makes the patient look untidy. The patient also refuses to take his medicine sometimes, which causes display of impulsive acts such as striking his chest or other parts of the body with his fist. The patient is usually quiet and cannot be persuaded to speak or talk. The patient also talks often with eyes closed as if praying, but will not reply being talked to. One time, the patient was seen to have a cross made of small sticks in his hand while reciting the passage in the literature. The patient also recited the Mass in a very loud voice in the hospital one time. The patient states that sometimes at night he could not sleep and heard voices that told him many things. The voices say that he should escape his going to be killed because he is kind-hearted. He also sometimes sees the shadow of former sweetheart in the hospital. During the confinement of the patient, in the hospital he is found to be suffering from a form of psychosis that is called manic depressive psychosis. At the time of his behavior, he stated that he was insane at his early days in the hospital, but during his interview on January 14, 1935, he felt that he is well. His insight and judgment are normal, and during the last 2 days, he has shown improvement in behavior as he was comforted and has coherent speaking manner.
The case was called again for the accused arraignment on March 23, 1935, but due to the fiscal's objection, the court issued another order ordering the psychiatrist to examine the defendant to appear and provide the entire report relevant to his mental condition. On June 11, 1935, Dr. Jose A. Fernandez, an assistant alienist at the Psychiatric Hospital, delivered his findings. A second request for the case was made on June 28, 1935. Dr. Fernandez validated his report in front of the court. Dr. Fernandez informed the court on January 21, 1936 that the defendant can be discharged from the hospital and appear for the trial because he was regarded as a recovered case. On February 27, 1936, a trial was held after the accused was arraigned and made a not guilty plea.
number 1937-45130, People of the Philippines versus Celestino Bonoan E. Cruz.
You, Celestino Bunoan E. Cruz, is heavily accused of evident premeditation and treachery for the murder of Carlos Gison. How do you plead?
Your Honor, I have informed my client about the accusation against him. After much deliberation, he decided to plead not guilty.
In the reading of the indictment for the case of Bonoan, with evident premeditation and treachery, his attorney defends him in the court that he is not guilty because of his condition, being said that the defendant was insane. To prove the motive, premeditation and mental normalcy of the accused at the time of the commission of the crime, the prosecution requested the judge to have Police Damasco Arnoco to take the witness stand.
Nung araw na inaresto ko ang akusado, napagkalaman ko na ang biktima ay may utang na 55 piso sa akusado. Napagkalaman ko rin na binili na akusado ang patalim sa Tabora Street na nagkakalaga ng 55 centavos. Pati na rin ang pagmamadyag ng akusado sa biktima 2 araw bago niya ito patayin.
At the end, the Supreme Court still affirmed the decision of the lower court. The Supreme Court ruled that while there is evidence showing that the accused exhibits some symptoms such as insomnia which could contribute to his diagnosis of dementia precox, it is insufficient to establish insanity. The evidence presented by the court further demonstrates that the accused did not exhibit any abnormal behavior, language, appearance, or behavior indicative of mental instability during or immediately following the commission of the offense. The conclusion of fact must be the same presumption established by law, that he was of sane mind, and the conclusion of law must be that he is criminally liable. After examining all of the evidence, they concluded that the accused is guilty of the offense charged and is not acquitting him.